Good morning, everyone. Happy Wednesday, hump day, and welcome to another episode of Tea and Coffee with Paula and
Jay. Hump day. That takes us back. How many of you remember that in the comments? Hump day, especially the camel. The camel was a fun one.
I only ever saw those ads one after the fact, like, on the hey, well, these ads great type of thing. Remember that, but otherwise, no. Wasn't in my neck of the
We
woods.
grew up with it for sure. What up? What's up? I had that one as well.
That annoying.
How many of you just had some nostalgia right there?
Well, what I love that's coming up on my Facebook feed is a lot of 90s rave classic stuff. I don't know how it came up, but I guess something did. And then, of course, when you stop for more than like half a second on something, it all of a sudden it's in your algorithm. I'm reliving. That's some ultimate nostalgia right there. 90s club music from back in the day in England. Good times.
Like Gatecrasher, was it?
Yeah, it'd be Gatecrasher, and even some of the underground stuff is when it was just really first coming out in the early 90s, at least for my particular generation. And yeah, good times, good tunes, real bangers of the tunes coming out. And I was like, oh man, those were the days. The teens in the 20s.
I was always wondering why rap music loved the Ontario Police. You down with OPP? Yeah, you know me.
What?
Ontario Police, like, yeah, they had their own little fan club, I guess.
Oh my goodness.
It was a lot of fun. I remember that stuff, folks. Yeah. I remember playing basketball at school on the outside to that song. It's a good song.
That's too funny, Ontario Police.
I'm down with Ontario Provincial Police. Yeah, you know me. Yeah, it was a cool song. Yeah, but that was the days when there was a lot less to worry about. But was it really because the world was different, or we were just younger?
We were just younger. Less to, no responsibilities back then. So our priorities were Friday nights, Saturday nights into Sunday morning, and hey, what are we going to do? Get together, go out. Those were the things that were top of mind for, at least for me in my teens. So yeah, good times. What tunes to listen to? Morning, Martin.
That sounds like a song right there. Friday night, Saturday night into Sunday morning.
Friday.
No, don't go there. No, you're gonna get us banned all over the place. Don't go there. Copyright right there. On YouTube.
Yeah.
No, we don't need to do that prior to Friday. It's still hump day.
Wednesday. Oh wait.
Yeah, look at you. I like your face. There it is.
It's my nose was. Oh, there you go. My nose
you can
sneaking in.
There you are. You're in my shot. F it. We'll do it live. But good morning. How are you doing?
All right. I'm feeling a little bit tired this morning. I think I had a deep sleep, but so because of that, I'm like, oh, I don't want to wake up. But no, feeling good and ready for the day. Whatever's going to happen.
Dream.
You had a weird dream?
I didn't tell you about it before. So I can tell you about it now.
You can tell us about it.
I don't know what city we were in, because at one point there's a beach, a sandy beach, lots of entertainment stuff like clubs, but we were at a courthouse. You were at a courthouse. I was with you. And we went in this line. It seemed like they're very cordial and all that kind of stuff. Then we get to the front, and the judge's like, "Okay, well, I'm taking my break." And he clears the courthouse right when we get up to there. So then we go and join another line. And for some reason, I'm in like a bathing suit and no shoes. And you're like, "Hey, why don't you go back to the car to get the wellies?" Because it's raining out. I'm like, what? I don't want to do that. So I went walking around, and I'm walking around. I found a beach. It's all sunny and stuff. And then like, wait. Where's the courthouse? I gotta get back. Then I woke up. What did you feed? Oh yes, the hot European meat sticks right before bed.
Yeah, there you go. But so that affects your dreams. But because the frontal lobe's not working when we dream, and that's why it makes sense in the dream. But when you're awake and conscious and you're reflecting upon it, they just don't. But at the time, your frontal lobe's not aware when you're dreaming. It's not activated.
I'm glad you said when you're dreaming.
Yes.
Because at first I was like, what? My frontal lobe's not working. But the part that stuck with me was, go get your wellies. I'm like, I have no shoes on.
I got no shoes. And especially you like walking around on sand on a beach.
No, I didn't go on the beach. I saw the beach, and that's when I turned around. I'm like, okay, that's enough for me.
Yeah.
I gotta get back to the courthouse. And then I didn't know where it was.
Lost with no shoes. Oh no.
I don't even know what city it was or where we were.
Beach, clubs and stuff. Could be Miami, but that wouldn't really be our scene.
The headline here is, why are you in court? That's the headline here. You gotta look at that. And there's food courts in there too.
Food courts.
Weird. Yeah.
Food courts for court. You gotta feed us.
Yeah, don't eat hot European meat sticks first thing or last thing of the day.
Yeah.
Kind of got to me. The Martin update. I had my arms deep in the diesel heater.
Yep. Yeah. Arms, nose, head deep into the cavity where we put our diesel heater. But it's up and running. Thank you very much for getting that up and running for us. So all three are functioning just fine.
When you are off grid, you have to be able to maintain, repair. We've learned the lesson about having backup systems. So when the diesel went down, we had electric and spare parts, how to use them, get it all done, and then how to clean your hands after, because boy, did I smell like diesel.
Yeah. Oh, that reminds me that you need to, we do have something in the cupboard to use. It's that green round circular thing that apparently workers use. We do have some of that. Should have even I just saw it late last night.
What's it for? Frontal lobe?
No, for cleaning hands, for cleaning work hands after work. That type.
See, that's how much I do it right. I didn't even know we had soap for it. But no, I was fine. I was able to wash my hands just fine. It's just, I got a small headache from all the diesel and exhaust.
Yeah.
And making sure there's no leaks and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, because that's key. Obviously, don't want to not wake up in the middle of the night. So that'll be good.
Well, if you die, you're warm. You got that.
And then you're cold. Stone cold.
But there you go, Martin. All good there. And somebody's coming home on Thursday.
Yeah, Charlie's coming home. She is no longer interested in being his girlfriend. The time has passed. So she's going to be. So he's coming home tomorrow. But
all good things come to an end.
Yes, but thank you very much to D and B for taking very good care of C. Taking very good care of Charlie. I know we had updates throughout the days, and yeah, I had no doubt he was going to be well taken care of.
You think he's going to be a daddy?
I hope so. We'll find out at some point, but delivery day should be in and around early March.
You miss Wilbur, don't you?
I do, but I think, and I'll chat to Brooke, but I think we'll
to who?
To Brooke. No, we haven't mentioned her. Tell her, Licious. But I'll probably let him stay so we don't miss the next window in case Penny is not pregnant. You
miss the routine of taking them around, and
oh my goodness, yes, yeah, I do. I miss my animals. Even Cece like running. Like two of my fellas have left me. I'm just stuck with a couple of cats. So yeah, but it'll be good to get the full herd back again and back into the routine.
That was a new experience for me too, as I had my head in there doing the diesel heater. Bloop, a little cat popped up. Popped his head in there, like, oh, hello. Get away. I don't want you in here. So yeah, we met. I think that's Oscar. He seems to be the adventurous one.
Yeah, Oscar for sure is the adventurous. He's the one with at least the clean face. Rascal's got a bit of I call it a tea stain patch on the side of his mouth. But yeah, and they're good cats as well. They're exploring. They've been enjoying the milder weather and they've been everywhere. One of them even followed me outside. So yeah, life is good on Farm Levine. What are you doing?
You keep stopping and then it switch and then you start again. So I'm not sure it's my frontal lobe.
Yeah, maybe.
Sure. What's that face?
I'm not going to say it. See?
Yeah, when we'll switch you back where the fingers will be up again?
No, fingers won't be up again.
Nope. All right, so you excited for the rest of the week? Lots of work to get done?
Yeah. Lots of work to get done. We're making the most of this mild weather and and then getting ready for Saturday.
Well, most of the work recently is getting ready for Saturday.
Yeah.
On the phone a lot, talking to people, getting things coordinated, getting another event together. We'll announce that probably tomorrow. And you actually can now say there will be signatures at this event.
Yes, exactly. The Stay Free Alberta will have a table in the foyer of the event, so you don't need a ticket to go up to it and sign, although it'd be great if you wanted to then pop on in to watch the show. But yes, the Stay Free Alberta will have a table. We have a licensed, registered, educated canvasser who will be there ready to take our signatures.
Yeah, they received their badge. I think it was either yesterday or right before that, the day before as well. But we weren't sure because we have to make sure it's all legit, legal, all that good stuff. People have to have their credentials because the other side is getting nasty and dirty already. Yeah,
what are you gonna do that? Because they know, and even the conversation you had with the journalist, that even choosing particular words to provoke. It's not to encourage, it's not to support, it's to provoke. And so, yeah, that's what we're going to be seeing till October, quite frankly. I think until the signature. Oh no, it would be till the signatures, so that'll be till May 2nd. They're going to be going hard, and then once we are successful, I think they're going to go into overdrive up to October.
Somebody screenshot some Facebook messages from that other Forever Canada group. They're like, hey, we should register as canvassers and then don't collect signatures. Or we should go and collect a bunch of signatures and then destroy them. Like, this is the stuff they're saying on a Facebook group now. I was like, huh? Like, really? Nobody did anything like that when you guys were running around for the summer doing your things, but this is what you want to do? This is how you explain it, and you're doing it publicly?
The internet is forever, people. Your name's on there. Like, what are you doing? There's no common sense.
It's ridiculous. But, you know, I'm sure they're not. These are more the we talk, we don't do action groups. So we'll see. And we'll get into some of the things that are coming out in the news around that as well. Actually, I think it's time to get into the news. Get into the news on your drive this morning. Alberta Plains. All right, let's go ahead and bring that up. Let me push the right button instead of being on the wrong screen. Here we go. Look at that. Frontal lobe is working. Slightly. Maybe a little bit.
Stop banging it for starters.
Well, I did them once.
Twice.
Oh, yes. Well, once was just a little poke. The other one was a bang.
Yeah.
Absolutely a bang. Hump day. All right, so here we go. So yesterday we had Mia Hughes and Dr. Jack Mintz on. It was actually a very interesting conversation. Both of them are going to be fantastic speakers at the event this weekend. Tickets are still available. Someone will push the button soon, and then we'll be able to get that link to you. There you go.
Yes, hold on.
You're not just a pretty face. You're a button pusher.
One moment, please.
Push that button. There it is. So January 10th, this Saturday, Fundamental Truths, Red Deer, fundamentaltruths.eventbrite.ca. The venue is Legacy Center.
Yep.
Not Place, Center. And if you want to just show up to sign, go ahead. You're more than welcome to. Be happy to. If you want to sign and enjoy the events, you can do that as well. And we've got some good numbers last couple of days. A lot of people are buying their tickets, so keep it going. Prices will go up at the door, but to get yourself a reserved seat, the only way to do that is to get a ticket.
Yeah.
At the event itself, it will be just general admission that's available. But if you want a reserved seat, so your butt stays nice and close, go ahead and grab that ticket as well. So Keith Wilson's at it, because one of the biggest narratives that we have to fight, that the mainstream media and a handful of chiefs are pushing, is that the First Nations own the land. It's not Alberta's land. Is all this kind of stuff. And there's like 5 or 6 different narratives that don't even line up. Like first they say they didn't cede the land. Yes, they did. It's been ceded in the treaties. Then they say Canada owns it. No, Canada doesn't. Then they say the First Nations own it. No, they ceded it. The reservations are their land for sure.
Yeah. But
the rest of Alberta is not. So 99% of Alberta is not under any agreement with First Nations. But it's not stopping them from pushing the narrative. And they're going to do the same thing in Saskatchewan, because the same situation there. A lot of it's been seceded already under treaties. But here we go. The Edmonton Journal, some mainstream media plus a couple of chiefs equals headlines. So they put out there, all of Alberta's rights are contingent on Canada's party status in Treaty Number 8. If there is no Treaty Number 8, there is no Canada. And if there is no Canada, there is no Alberta. Huh? Like, huh? What does that even mean? Are you now saying Canada doesn't exist? Or what do you even mean?
It's just words.
And what does Canada's party status mean? Like, none of this is legit. If you read the actual treaties themselves, it was ceded completely. In fact, that's how they got the residential schools. That was part of the agreement. They wanted education to be provided. And yeah, we know how that went. But Keith Wilson responded to this. The claim in this article is simply incorrect as a matter of law. I remain puzzled why a small number of chiefs would drive a wedge into progress on reconciliation and seek to block both Alberta's and First Nations democratic right to petition government. But here's the thing. There's one thing I don't agree with Keith on. There's no wedge. There's an illusion of a wedge. But when you talk to First Nations people, and a lot of people are posting on our post here saying, I'm First Nations and I'm for it. I want to destroy the relationship with Ottawa. They've been horrible to us. The Indian Act is racist. Want to get rid of it. Want to renegotiate. Great. That's how many First Nation people are speaking up and saying that they support that. So actually, the only thing I disagree with Keith on this is I don't think there is a wedge. There's the illusion of a wedge that's trying to be created, but it won't be successful because when people get to vote, everybody gets one vote. If you're 18, resident of Alberta, Canadian citizen, everybody gets one vote. And I assure you, with the exception of a handful of chiefs, people want self-determination.
Yeah.
All Albertans want self-determination. And this is the best chance we've had forever to actually get to that for everybody, not just one group. And there will be no multi-tier. I highly suspect that if there's a yes vote, through the negotiations, through the Clarity Act, through the Constitutional Convention, all these processes that still have to happen, we will see a brand new arrangement driven by First Nations to be completely equal, prosper the same way as everybody else, and we build this new nation together.
Yeah. No, I agree, and we've had people in our chats as well speak out not only for themselves but friends and family who are Indigenous and said, no, we're good, we support this.
Yeah.
So yeah, and then this comment here, Chris Scott has also been doing a good job of debunking some of these fraudulent comments.
Yeah, Chris spent a lot of time chatting with him yesterday. I was trying to get him to cater our event, but he said the pizzas will be too cold.
I agree. I agree. It's best to get some local food.
But Chris Scott will be at the event. He's going to show up and hang out with us. So yeah, if you're a fan of him, come hang out as well. And if you Whistle Stop Cafe, so WSC, he has a coupon code.
Okay.
WSC20 will get you a 20% discount on the event, any ticket. So grab that now. That's basically a reserved ticket at the general admission prices.
Okay, cool.
There you go. Whistle Stop Cafe, WSC20. But thank you to Keith and many others, because this seems to be one of the major ones that they're pushing hard on. This plus Trump and 51st Date and now Venezuela, they're pushing those narratives, but it's not working. As you're going to see in a bit, there's some photographs coming up. So good news, Stay Free Alberta. Remember, go follow this group. And I'll clarify this one more time. Alberta Prosperity Project is not running the petition and signature drive. They are an education, non-partisan group who's providing information. The group under Mitch Sylvester's lead that's collecting the signatures for the petition is Stay Free Alberta. Mitch is involved in both, but for many, many reasons, it's improper to use Alberta Prosperity Project itself to be a political organization that's involved in it. There is a separate one. Stay Free Alberta is the official one. It's with Mitch Sylvester and the rest of the people working on that. And another thing that these forever Canadian people don't understand is Mitch is the one that has to submit the canvassers. So they would have to lie to him in some way, shape, or form to say that they're willing to work on it.
Yeah.
There's an NDA that needs to be signed. I know he's processing a ton of them. I'm one of them. And I'll get into the training today. But yeah, stayfreealberta.com.
Yes.
Okay, excellent.com. See, look, they don't even want a CA there. .com. Yeah. But Stay Free Alberta is a place to do, and they announced yesterday they now have canvassers who have received their ID badges from Elections Alberta. They're going through our training process, and we'll be able to have some locations ready for you to sign the petition. So follow them there. Yeah, you're correct. StayFreeAlberta.com, and on X, Stay Free Alberta, for locations. And I think the first one was last night. We're going to get into that. So last night, some of the first signatures were picked up.
Excellent.
And we are announcing more good news. So there will be a Stay Free Alberta table in the lobby of our Fundamental Truths event in Red Deer, where signatures can be accepted. That's Saturday, January 10th, 1 to 7 p.m. Legacy Center, 1 England Way, Red Deer, Alberta. No event ticket needed to sign the petition.
But again, if you do,
you can. And if you would like to enter the event and receive a 20% discount, use the code SFA20 for Stay Free Alberta 20 when selecting your tickets. And Eventbrite is where you can get those. We'll see you there. Looking forward to that because I want to be one of the first on that page. I want to be one of the first. I don't have to be the first, but I'd love to be one of the first. Trump is reminding everybody. So a quick reminder came out yesterday that under Trump's administration, they have evidence that leads them to believe that George Soros funds Antifa. So, and Reid Hoffman. So, I think Reid Hoffman's the LinkedIn guy. I think he's the guy that owns LinkedIn. Let's go double check that because I don't want to give him false news. Reid Hoffman.
He's looking.
Internet entrepreneur. Yeah, that's him. So, yeah, this is the guy that runs LinkedIn. Co-founder of LinkedIn. Yeah. So, LinkedIn and George Soros, I might close my LinkedIn after this, there's evidence that they actually directly fund Antifa. Now, keep in mind, Canada has not designated Antifa as anything, but Antifa is a organization that causes a lot of chaos at minimum.
Yes.
And at maximum, they are a terrorist organization, according to the Trump administration. So I'm very pleased that this is being exposed because I hope it ripples across the border. Now, here's where I'm going with this particular one. Did you watch? Because you and I watched the press conference with Trump about Venezuela, right?
Yes.
He was very clear. The Monroe Doctrine, which was President Monroe, basically said the Western Hemisphere needs to stay safe and secure for the United States to be safe and secure. And Trump is invoking that doctrine as well. And without saying Canada, he was saying in the Western Hemisphere, we got to make sure that we're safe and secure from terrorism and good neighbors. And we have good neighbors all around. Well, Canada isn't a good neighbor. There's terrorism in Canada. We breed it. We support it. Antifa is one of them.
You see, Canada's not a good resident, let alone a good neighbor.
Right. So without saying Canada, he's basically letting everybody know in the Western Hemisphere, which Canada currently is. And there's no way to change that, no matter how many European ties you make. But Trump is highlighting he's taking it seriously. And that was part of his justification for picking up the president. What's his name?
Maduro?
Yeah. Picking him up was because he's a drug trafficker, narco terrorist, or something along those lines. And
in bringing in foreign adversaries closer to the shores.
Correct. And that was a concern. But without saying Canada, he was hinting that Canada is a problem. And we are.
Yeah.
Canada is a problem. Absolutely. I called that before his election was done, that this was going to be something that happens because we are absolutely not taking certain things seriously with terrorism. We're allowing it. And they're just one border away from the U.S. So I can understand that completely. Boom, boom, boom. Here's a surprise of the year of 2026. The petition for, say that name, please. He's a minister of education.
Well, it sounds like the Nicolades.
There you go. That's probably way better than I can do. 10,000 signatures short, 2 weeks to go for the recall of him. He was the first one that they did. They were pushing hard because he's a minister of education. This is, if you recall, this is around Bill 2, which used a notwithstanding clause to put teachers back in the classroom. So of all the targets to be successful with, he was likely going to be the one. He was the first one that they did. This was in October. They got 2 weeks left to get 10,000 signatures. Guess how many they got so far? 6,000. So even the organizer says, yeah, it would be quite the feat to get the rest. So what I'm highlighting here is every single one of these petitions are going to fail. There's 26 of them. Alberta had to allocate several $1 million because of this. They were not legitimate ever.
Yes.
They had no chance to be successful, and now they're starting to fail one by one. This is the first one that was due in January. But yeah, they're 10,000 short on the 16,000 goal, and this is going to fall. All of them are going to fall. I do hope this leads to recall around referendums so that they have to be a legitimate reason. They can't just be because there's an organization out of BC that provided $1 million, the Teachers Federation there. Like this, there should be some sort of.
It's great to have the procedure in place so that it's there when needed, but this was not a situation where it was needed.
We are for, and I know our guest isn't for recall, but we are for recall when it's legitimate and for a purpose. And one of the things I think should happen is there has to be some sort of decider that this is a legit reason. So a court, and the court doesn't make a decision on whether or not it should be successful. They make a decision on whether or not the reason for recall is valid.
Yeah.
And it should be something along the lines of breach of public trust.
Yeah, the criteria has been met.
Yeah. Criminal activity, and it can't be just allegation. It has to be something that's proven. So like convicted criminally, or there's evidence of breach of trust or something along those lines, a legitimate reason. but 26 petitions for recall have been issued. The first one's about to fail, and all 26 will fail. This was the one that, when you look at it on the surface level, may have had a chance because their argument was for teachers and the notwithstanding clause. Well, he's a minister of education. Womp womp.
Yeah.
Falling way short. They're probably at the 40% mark or so when you think about it. They needed 16, they got 6, about 40%. So womp womp. But here's what's not going to be a womp womp. Congratulations to Jeffrey Rath. Last night, he was the first signature on the first petition document. Sorry about the screen, folks. Mouse is just having a lot of fun. Water Valley, Alberta. First signatures were being taken yesterday. He provided the first one. Water Valley, Alberta, some of the posts I saw, about 250 people that live there, and 370 people showed up to this event. This is a really good indication. The first signature, first event to do it, small town, and more than the population showed up.
Excellent.
Yeah. So we're going to see this happen all over the place for sure. And let me see what the next one was. Okay, so good. Alberta Prosperity Project. Remember, they're doing education. They can do training. They can inform people. Edmonton tomorrow, January 7th, 7 p.m. If you want to be a canvasser, thinking about being a canvasser, already signed up to be a canvasser, you should be at this event because the 22-minute video from Elections Alberta will be provided and training is there. I'm going to one tonight. So if you're in the Drayton Valley area, I'll be at Mitch's restaurant at 6:30 to do exactly this.
And then what's the date? The date is Thursday the 8th.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah. Tomorrow.
No, yeah,
Tomorrow in Edmonton. This one tonight in Drayton Valley at Mitch's at 6:30 for the training. I've signed up, and one more step, and I should be good to go.
Cool.
I'll be a canvasser. That means that any event that I go to, any door that I knock, I can go ahead and collect signatures.
Have a form for you to fill.
You're going to be the first one, aren't you?
For what?
On my one, the first one that I can witness is going to be you.
Oh, I guess so. I was going to do the one on Saturday.
What?
I was going to do the one on Saturday.
Oh yeah, me too. Dum, dum.
Yeah.
All right. Well, then
Saturday.
anybody out in the Drayton Valley area that hasn't signed, by the time I get mine, you could be first. You could be first. But Breton, Buck Creek, Warburg, all these areas, I'll be working with the local person to get that done, who happens to be a good friend at our church. So I'll be working with him. But if you want to come check this out, Drayton Valley tonight, Mitch's 6:30. And if you're in the Edmonton area, tomorrow night, 7 o'clock, Bellevue Community Center.
Yep. Cool. Oh, and then Laurie, does that mean we can sign with you at Salt and Pepper?
Yes.
Yes. If Jason has his
once I get the badge.
Yeah, once you get the badge, you'll always have paperwork on you.
Yeah.
And yeah, Laurie, go ahead.
Yeah, Salt and Pepper is one of the locations we're looking at. They'll still let us have a table and go ahead and do that. But yes, all of that's going to be happening. We got 4 months to collect them all. And I'll even door knock. Because we just door knocked for the campaign.
Yeah.
A lot of friendly people out there.
Oh, for sure.
Noah and I will be doing a lot of that. And if you want to become a canvasser and you're in our area, we're looking for a couple more. Happy to have you. As we get on to our guest shortly here, Saskatchewan's doing the same thing. Saskatchewan Prosperity Project. Thanks, Ria. How do you say that?
Ray, I don't know.
Ray?
Okay. I don't know.
You're better than me.
He's all these white names.
My frontal lobe, I smacked it twice, right? But anyway, Saskatchewan is doing it as well. Prairie Rising Forum. This is something to check out. January 10th. They're all over the place. Chris Barber does virtual appearances at some of these. So check it out.
Also, a quick question. Will you come to the Rocky Mountain House area?
Sure.
But hopefully they'll end up getting someone for that area.
There's going to be people everywhere. But yeah, I will participate in all the events and collections that I can. But certainly our home base is Breton, and then put a 50-kilometer radius on it, which probably includes Rocky Mountain. And by the way, if you're in Rocky Mountain, come to our event in Red Deer on Saturday. You can find there.
Yeah, go ahead. So, but also, Lorianne, go check the Stay Free Alberta website because they'll also be listing events that they're holding to have signatures collected. But yeah, Saturday, come down and you can go ahead and sign with Lynn.
Lynn,
Lynn,
yes.
yeah.
Lynn's going to be there with maybe more, but Lynn's got her badge now, so she's good
Yeah.
to go. So we're going to wrap up here because I want to get to our guest. So Carney is already hinting that Canadian boots are going to be on the ground in Ukraine or Europe. Pay close attention to this, folks. He's talking about joining the coalition of the willing. We're hearing terms like this all over the place. These are your sons and daughters. This is your tax money. And Chrystia Freeland is now running the finances of Ukraine. So, dun, dun, dun.
She'll spend that $2.5 billion wisely.
So go sign the petition. This is the kind of thing we need to get away from. Having Ottawa and some WEF globalist prime minister calling the shots for your prosperity, your future, and your children isn't the way you want to be if you live in Alberta, Saskatchewan, Quebec, Northern BC. All of these are happening. All right. So, oh, yeah, great. So this is the last one, and then we're on to our guest. So Billboard Chris posted, nobody is trans. We learned that yesterday with Mia Hughes, which will be speaking at our event as well. That's not a thing. Trans people isn't a thing. Doesn't mean the people who call themselves trans don't exist. It means they have a mental issue.
Yeah, gender dysphoria.
That needs to be addressed. That person exists, but their claims don't exist. So thanks to Billboard Chris, which is basically saying the exact same thing that Mia is saying, and you'll be able to see Mia on Saturday. All right. I'm excited. I'm so excited. Every time Bruce comes on, it's a good show. I learned something. Sometimes there's cold water thrown around, though, but at least we're prepared for what's coming. He's smiling. So good morning, cold water party. How are you doing?
Good morning, Jason and Paula. How are you?
Good morning. Do you have a coffee or tea this morning? You got to get that question away.
I'm not a hot drink in the morning kind of guy. I drink neither.
Neither? You could have said cold tea, cold coffee, iced tea, anything.
Well, how about cold water? You called me the cold water guy. Let's start with cold water.
Fair enough. Look at that. My frontal lobe is working after all. We had a conversation about my frontal lobe not working when I'm sleeping, and I think there's some evidence of that now. So Bruce, there's signatures being collected. The first one was last night. Jeffrey Rath was the first one on that sheet. He's really excited. And if you didn't catch it, a town of about 250 people had 360 people show up. So it looks like Alberta's ready, and they're showing up, and they're going to. I should have bought my some stock in ink pens, because I think a bunch of them are going to be used in Alberta. But what are your thoughts? We're kind of at that point now. Signatures are being collected.
Well, this is where the rubber hits the road, right? So it's great news. Full steam ahead.
Absolutely.
Now's the time to find out. I don't think there's going to be any trouble finding enough signatures, right? So the petition is going to be successful. The question is going to be the actual vote.
Yeah, actual vote, and then what the government does with that clause in the Referendum Act that says they could go ahead and ignore it anyways.
Of course, yes, and exactly so. And so, for people who have not heard about this, there in Bill 14, the one that properly repealed Section 2.4 of the Citizen Initiative Act, also included an amendment to the Referendum Act that gives the government now the power to decide, even if an independence referendum is successful, that is, the people approve it, the government can decide not to implement it. So that's a bit of a concern.
And even the wording in it, I think, is so silly. A successful binding referendum may not end up being binding. So what's the point of calling it binding at this stage? They did that. And I'm not sure if you caught my interview with Danielle Smith on Friday.
I did.
Posed the question to her. Yeah. Did you see that sidestepping? Like she did a two-step.
I did. And you asked her that question twice, effectively. And she managed to sidestep it both times. She did not answer the question.
Yeah, but she did say, ask me on May 2nd. So the very next thing I did was talk to her team to get her for May 2nd, because I believe you're correct. The signatures will be successful. And at that stage, it's becoming very real. I suspect her answer is going to be, well, let's see what happens in October.
I'm sure that is going to be the answer, right? And so, but this is very pertinent, right? So here's the best guess, my best guess. If the referendum is approved very, very narrowly, then the government now has the power to decide whether or not, well, it's marginal enough and we don't really support it anyway, so we're not going to implement it. Instead, what we're going to do is we're going to use the referendum result to leverage negotiations with the federal government to get policy concessions, and then we'll call it a day. On the other hand, if the referendum vote happens to be overwhelming, let's say you get 60% plus, then the government will probably say, you know what, this is where the parade is heading. We better do this.
Yeah, I can't even imagine that 51% them stepping in the way of this, because there's still a lot of work to get done. But when I had Shane Getson on, and this is his last term, he was pretty adamant that the cabinet, the caucus, would prefer to just continue working on what they're working on and not be, in his words, kind of forced to go to Ottawa and start negotiations. He called it a bit of a distraction. Like, let us finish what we're doing now. Don't send us there. But he acknowledged that he may have to go there because of the referendum. So I didn't get the hint out of him that the government would stand in the way. And this was post Bill 14 as well. But it would have been great to hear Danielle at least say, similar to Minister of Justice Amory, that, well, there's a procedure for independence. This is not what this is targeting. But he also stopped short of saying, but we won't use it.
Oh, yes, he did. Yes, he did. Yeah.
Now, something that is coming up a lot, and I'm just trying to find the post on it, is First Nations. There's a lawsuit that's been filed to try. Here we go. Found it right there. Trying to stop it. So what are your thoughts about the success of something like this? Sturgeon Lake Cree Nation is put in an application to stop the petition, stop a democratic legal process. Is there any precedence for this kind of thing? What are your thoughts around, bringing an application to basically an injunction, I guess, to try and stop it?
Right. So my take on this is that there's really nothing to it. That doesn't mean necessarily that a court will find the same thing if they're inclined. But what they're trying to argue is that holding a referendum and asking the question, or backing up, even putting together a petition to have a referendum to ask the question, is itself a violation of the Constitution. That's not true. That's not true. See, this was the argument that was made in the Section 2.4 case. On the part of the APP, they said, well, but asking a question is not unconstitutional. But that wasn't the test in Section 2.4, which is why Section 2.4 had to go. Section 2.4 said you can't have a petition that will lead to the result of potentially, the change in the Constitution. So 2.4 had to go. But now that argument is a good one against these claims. These claims are saying you're not allowed to ask a question because the question could lead to a change in the Constitution that we don't like. That's not on.
Yeah.
Right on. So one of the party predictions that just came out is that won't be successful. And I thought the exact same thing. Like, on what grounds, what justification, what law, what precedents do they have to try and make this claim to go ahead and stop? They should be doing what everyone else is doing: rally the troops and go and vote.
But these are valuable in this sense. It gives some indication of the kind of objection that's going to be made in the event of a successful vote, right? So, if there's a successful vote for independence, then at the moment where let's say the Alberta government goes forward with negotiations to leave, at that point you're going to get these kinds of objections saying, "Sorry, you can't do this. We have a treaty with Canada." And we live in Alberta, therefore you can't do this. That's the kind of scenario that's going to happen. Not just that, but more. But this is the kind of situation you're going to encounter.
Now, when this gets dismissed, because it really should get dismissed, do you think that will put some cold water on the any other attempts to do this again?
Oh no. This is going to happen to the very, very end. You're going to have everything thrown at you to defeat both the process and the legitimacy of the independence movement. But this is going to happen to the very, very end.
And I suspect, and probably you suspect as well, even with a successful referendum a yes vote, you'll see some more lawsuits trying to stop it.
Oh, no question. No question. You're going to have all kinds of potential. There are all kinds of potential objections to make, like, about the question or about the, the meaning of majority of people. So here's one of the questions that the Supreme Court was not actually very specific about. If you have, let's say you have, let's say you have 55% of eligible voters vote yes in a referendum. Okay. Well, that sounds like you have 55%. But hold on. What if a majority of people means a majority not of voters, but of people? So all those people who are not eligible to vote have to be counted. So if you go about it that way, you don't need 50 plus 1. I don't know what the number is, but you need 75% because a lot of people in Alberta are not eligible because they're not of age or so on. There's all kinds of objections to make.
And that's the clear majority requirement you're talking about there. Because what is a clear majority? They didn't define that. And kind of there's some precedence to what you're saying. Here in Alberta currently on a municipal level, if you want to do a recall, it's 40% of all the people, not even the ones that just voted, the population. That's going to be changed to the electoral, but currently you need to get 40% the number, which turns out to be like 80% of everybody that voted to get that threshold met, which is difficult. So there's kind of some precedence there, like what is a majority? And then that might be a t-shirt. What's a majority?
I think we have to put ourselves in the shoes of the other side so that we can imagine. So if you are amongst those people, both inside Alberta and outside Alberta, who regard the idea of independence as illegitimate, not just not smart, illegitimate, then you will do whatever you need to do to defeat it. Mm-hmm. And if we are thinking in their shoes, we can come up with all kinds of ideas about how to undermine the legitimacy of this process.
Absolutely. They had that constant 24-hour talking heads as well of the mainstream media.
Foreign interference, Trump, Russia, all this stuff is going to come up for sure. That already is.
Yeah.
It already is right now. Now, another major argument that's been pushed a lot recently is that Canada is going to need to vote on this too. They're saying the 750 rule is going to apply. So even if Alberta says yes, Canada can block it. That's not my reading of the Clarity Act or the decision of the Supreme Court. Because what would be the point of the Clarity Act, the negotiations, if the 750 rule applied to that one? Can you touch on that?
Yeah, well, that's correct. The Supreme Court, in its 1998 reference case, did not say that amendment procedure applied. But again, this is one of the arguments that can be made. If that is the procedure that's applied, then independence is never going to happen because the rest of the country is not going to vote in favor of one of the provinces leaving. So that makes it a dead duck on arrival. So that can't be the process.
Right. And for people that are kind of wondering what is a 750 rule, the Constitution amendment formula. So in order to amend the Constitution, you need 7 provinces that represent 50% of the population to agree to the amendment. That's how amendments are done. The Meech Lake Accord, the Charlottetown Accord were attempts to do that. They failed. They're very difficult to do to get to that threshold. Even with Quebec, Saskatchewan, Alberta, that would be probably it. That would be on board for any of these. That's only 3. You would need 4 more. But the argument is inside the decision, the Supreme Court decision referring to in 1998, that it says it will eventually end up with an amendment of the Constitution, but that's after negotiations. So people are twisting that to say, well, even if you have negotiations, we still have to have that threshold met.
Right, but you see, what may happen is, so we have this Supreme Court decision in 1988. We have the Clarity Act. We have what seems to be at least the beginning of a path to independence for a province, all laid out in the case of Quebec. And so we're all thinking, oh, well, everything's pretty clear. They said this and they said that, and here's what the Clarity Act says, and so that's what we're going to do. But your question raises the very real possibility that as time goes on with respect to Alberta, somebody's going to try to change the goalposts and say, oh, well, no, that's not what we meant. What we meant is you have to have, the 750 formula. And without that, of course, you can't amend the Constitution. And if you can't amend the Constitution, then you can't leave. Or the like. I mean, who knows exactly what the argument's going to be, but somebody at some time is going to try and change the criteria under which Alberta is allowed to go.
Right. And some arguments I've been using is the Supreme Court identified that secession is a unique case. It's not a normal thing under the Constitution. In other words, the amendment wouldn't be to change something like the Senate or boundary lines or anything like that. It's literally just to remove Alberta would be the only amendment at the end of the process here. 1980 was the first referendum in Quebec. 1982 is when this Constitution was written. So if they wanted to stop anybody from leaving, any province from leaving, they could have written it in. But I don't think that would have been passed. No province would have accepted that. So there's at least an applied argument that there is no way to force a province to stay in, or they would have put that as part of the Constitution. And then another argument I make on this one is in 1949, Newfoundland became a Canadian province.
Correct.
And that was done through a referendum in Newfoundland, not a Canadian referendum. There was no Canadian referendum that says, hey, we're going to allow them in. It was, we want them in. Do you guys want to join us? So the referendum was on the Newfoundland level. So if it takes a local referendum to get in, it should take one to get out. That's kind of my argument there.
Sure. But the large point is this for Albertans to keep in mind. They are embarking on nothing less than political revolution. And this movement is going to put the existence of Canada into doubt. And so they should expect the people who believe in the continuation of the train wreck that has become Canada to do everything in their power, both proper and improper, to defeat the prospect. Right? So if we're all expecting, you follow the rules and you follow the path and the breadcrumbs, then you get to the end and everything is fine and you do it and then you get to go. Okay. It's not the way it's going to happen. It's going to be a struggle. And the people who are against it's going to throw everything on the wall to see what sticks. So you got to be prepared. You're doing nothing less than political revolution, peaceful. It's got to be peaceful revolution, but it is revolution nonetheless. And so be prepared.
And I like how you said illegitimate too, because absolutely they're going to do that. They already started. So Thomas Lusakic's already talking about trying to get a national referendum together to stop Alberta. Really? Like, do you think you can get Canada to go ahead and say, no, we're not letting you do what you want to do? And I got to applaud the man because he's really helping our numbers grow, because the more that he pits Canada against Alberta, he's really helping the independent movement, in my opinion.
I agree.
Yeah, maybe that's all part of his cunning plan.
Maybe he is for it all along.
4D chess.
Could be. Some of the things that his group or people that identify in his group. So I want to be careful. I don't want to say like he's directing this, but people that are in the Facebook book groups around this are saying things like, well, let's register as a canvasser and not do the work. Or let's do the work but not submit the signatures. So people think, I signed already. Like, a way to just disclude it. What are your thoughts about activities like that?
Well, I think, I of course, it's underhand, shady dealing, but I think they're barking up the wrong tree. I don't think that there's going to be any trouble getting enough signatures to put the petition forward. So if they want to spend all their efforts doing this and letting it be known this is what they're doing to discredit themselves, then go right ahead.
Yeah,
certainly not a group I would align with that behaves that way. You didn't see that happen in the summer. Nobody was in the way. Nobody even bothered people that were collecting signatures. We're all like, do it. Get the referendum. We'll vote the other way. Like, go ahead and do it. We have no problem with that. We have no insecurity. And what they should be doing is just focusing on getting the no vote. Like, go campaign, go tell the truth, go get people collected if you want to vote against the no. Because quite frankly, there's another narrative out there that, well, if you don't like it, don't vote. I actually want everybody to show up so that the clear majority question isn't such a difficult process.
Yeah.
Because if it was like, say, 80%, yes, but very few people showed up to vote, that wouldn't be helpful in the argument of the clear majority.
Yeah, we need the numbers.
Yeah, sure, but fair enough. But let's just focus on getting people to vote yes, and then the rest of the people can decide what to do for themselves. I mean, if you get 80 or 90% of people who vote, that's going to be a very hard number to ignore, regardless of how many people do vote and how many people weren't eligible to vote. 90% on any vote is fantastic. It's a kind of a pipe dream. So let's cross our fingers.
Now, in Alberta, we had 62 or 63% vote to stop equalization. And that's going to be a similar group that's probably interested in this. I'm not saying one for one, but if you want to stop equalization, you want to make a change to the Constitution, and you said yes to that, there's a good chance you may support this as well, because that would do ultimately stop equalization. So if you were for stopping equalization, this is one way to get it done, because there is no other way to get that one done.
That's true, although some people who supported reforming equalization, leaving the country is more of a commitment. And so there's probably still work to be done there.
Yep. I'm just wondering if it's going to be in those kind of numbers, the 60 plus range.
Well, that would be
another
great.
thing.
That would be terrific.
Now, another thing that comes up is recently, Venezuela, international law, everybody's saying you can't do that. There's international law. Carney is saying to Trump, respect international law. All of these are going to not age well for him. He's supporting other states becoming independent, Palestine and others. These aren't going to age well for him, because if it comes back as a yes, I don't expect him to say, oh, okay, well, let's get this done. You guys are ready to leave. I expect him to be one of the biggest roadblocks, but he'll have to go against what he just finished saying. Because international law does allow independence. There's a Declaration of Independence process. If a majority of people want to leave, you can go ahead and do that. That's a different path. The Clarity Act is what I call with Canada's consent. The Declaration of Independence would be without their consent. And this is what the Supreme Court basically said. I don't know if it's legal, but basically said is you can't unilaterally leave, which would be a declaration of independence. So what are your thoughts around that? Does Carney kind of already set himself up to support it if we get there? And what about the Declaration of Independence? Is that a valid path forward internationally, but not according to the Supreme Court?
Well, let's just talk about international law for a moment. And a lot of my international law colleagues will vehemently disagree with me about this, but international law is not really law at all. I mean, the people who believe in it pretend that there's a rules-based international order. That's what international law is. But what international law actually is, in my view, is a language. It's a language that countries use to talk to each other and try and persuade each other that what they're doing is wrong.
Fair.
But you will see all the time people saying things like, what this country did today was, contrary to international law. They may be right, they may be wrong, but what happens? Nothing. Because international law is not a set of rules that can be enforced by anybody except other countries with the power to enforce them. So what actually happens in the international scene is that countries with might exercise the might. And other countries complain when they do. Okay, that's how international affairs actually works. And this is what happened when Trump captured the Venezuelan president. Right? People complained this was a violation of international law. Okay, well, if you actually had a regime of rules that could be enforced, a violation of international law would lead to something, but it's going to lead to nothing. So it's just talk. And so when it comes to Alberta, the bottom line is, what actually happens. So if Alberta, has a successful vote and issues a declaration of independence, contrary to what the Supreme Court said, and other countries like the U.S. recognize an independent Alberta, well, what is now the situation? The situation is that other countries around the world recognize Alberta as independent. There's going to be conflict. There's going to be a difference of opinion about whether or not that makes Alberta an actual independent country or not. And then that is sorted out through dialogue and, threats and all of the tools that are applied in the international situation. But it's not really a rules-based order. There's a lot of pretending that that's what it is. But if you actually look at what happens, it's actually not true.
I like the way you put that, because there isn't a way to enforce it for sure. And one of the things you've talked about before is ruled by mob, which is democracy, ruled by elite, which is, the courts and stuff like that. But then now there's a third one, ruled by power. Like, who has the power? So that's kind of who sets the rules sometimes.
That's exactly right.
One could argue that the power and the courts are the same.
No. I meant on an international level. Like, who can enforce and do that kind of stuff? So enforcement power, I guess. So that would be the U.S. China's trying to be. Russia's kind of busy. But I think there would be a lot of, if it went that route, which I don't think it will. Actually, I think we're going to be successful through the current system to get out of it. But if it went that route, trade agreements and other things would be started right away. U.S. has already said, yeah, we'll recognize Alberta. Quebec said we'll recognize Alberta if they head out as well. And I'm sure there's a lot of other allies that would do it as well, because they have trade interests with Alberta. Third, it depends who you talk to. Third or fifth largest oil reserve is in Alberta. But that's one path forward too, is we negotiate and we start working on, entering the global markets.
We should start still collecting the sound bites from Carney, saying how he's such a proponent for, freedom for other nations. And then that way, when he turns around and says and fights Alberta. Just stop playing them all consecutively every day. You said this, you said this.
But I think there's a very important point here, and I think you're right about what you've said. But there's a danger in thinking about this morally. As in, what other countries will recognize Alberta because it's the right thing to do? Countries don't act like that. Countries act in their own self-interest.
Correct.
And so if it is in their interest to recognize Alberta because of trade agreements or what the like, well, then that's what they'll do. But if it is not in their interest to do so because they think it's more important to maintain good relationships with Canada, for example, then they won't. Okay. I think we have to, do these kinds of calculations with that principle in mind, which is countries all over the world act first and foremost in their own interests. And so if you want their cooperation, you have to situate yourself in such a way that it is in their interests to help you. That's what counts.
For sure. And morality, like outside of Sunday church, I don't see much of that going on at all. But all those people that are like pro-Ukraine, leave Ukraine alone, leave them sovereign, let them do their own thing, are also going to be the same people that try and stop Alberta. And it's kind of like the no kings protesters say no kings, but yet they're supporting
a dictator.
But we can point out, but this is my point. We can point out the hypocrisy in all of that, and the hypocrisy is real. And you can take clips of Carney and show he said this at this point about this, and then he said this about Alberta. Then those two things don't line up. It's all it's all hypocrisy. Sure, who cares? They're leaders of countries themselves do what's in their interests at every particular moment, and it's very difficult to shame them into changing their path that they're following in their self-interest. All right. So that's what I mean by a moral argument. That's a moral argument. You said this about that and this about that. Those two things conflict. You must be wrong. Who cares?
Yeah, no, unfortunately, you are absolutely correct, Bruce. I completely
And that's
agree.
not even cold water. That's lukewarm water, because we know it's true. It's been around for a while. It's been sitting in the room. We know that one's true.
Yeah.
What can we do potentially about stuff like this? So Global Edmonton headline reads, Sturgeon Lake Creek Nation blocks Alberta separatist petition in court. No, they didn't. They filed an application. And they even got community noted. The Sturgeon Lake Creek Nation has not blocked the petition in court. They filed a statement of claim, yada, yada, yada. What do we do, if anything, or should we take a closer look at how the media is acting? There should be something there, because this is a pillar of democracy, the media. This is supposed to be helping people be informed, but yet they're clearly lying. This is a flat out lie. This is not even a misrepresentation. This is a lie. Nothing got blocked.
Right. That's incorrect. The statement is incorrect. But I wouldn't waste your time trying to correct them because they're not interested in being fixed. I would go around them. Just go around them, ignore them. You like at a certain point, we have to acknowledge that kind of legacy media outlet is not going to be telling the truth, and they're not going to be fixed. They don't really care about being hypocritical. I wouldn't waste time and resources trying to reform them. It's not going to happen. So go around them.
And that's unfortunate because we all grew up with stories and parables to learn from, and the sky is falling. Running around yelling the sky is falling is not a good idea, because if something does happen, no one's going to believe you. And that's unfortunate. But I think many Canadians now, and I think the last number I saw was like only 8% watch the CBC. So it's a really low number now. That's why they need a lot of funding and all that kind of stuff. But that's unfortunate. It would be great to be able to have reliable information provided out there.
Sure, but
we'd be out of business.
Go ahead. Sure, go ahead.
No, I was going to say, but we'd be out of business because we're the alt media, the independent media.
Right. That's right. Yeah, don't shoot yourself in the foot. I mean, as time goes on, I hope that more and more people will understand that they can't trust everything they hear, and that's the way it ought to be. People should be in the headspace where they think, I cannot trust everything I read and hear now, in the media. I have to evaluate this for myself. I have to hear different kinds of voices to figure out what the actual truth is. That's the way it's supposed to work.
Fantastic. Yeah. And I think we've entered that age now. I think we're there now. Most people, they don't follow the trust but verify. They do the verify then trust. Kind of
right.
That one a little
right.
Kind of have to.
Right.
So we've grown up a little bit. Let's quickly chat about, and then we'll go to our supporter side, because that is how we keep the lights on. That plus propane and a generator. Because I want to talk about the Fundamental Truth event that you're coming into Alberta for. By the way, you are a popular person. You're going to be busy. I don't know how much free time you're going to have.
I'm accepting bribes to cancel your return ticket so that you can stay in Alberta.
Yeah, you can reach out to us for sure, because you're a popular person. And I'm not responsible if you're kidnapped or anything like that, or that's on you.
Yeah, I absolve you. I absolve you, Jason.
Absolutely. There we go. It's now on the record. But so I'm really excited about your speech this Friday. We've been having all the speakers on this week. We're not getting into your speech because, you go up to the show, you'll find it. But what does fundamental truth mean to you? And why do you think it's important for us to kind of return to it?
Right. Well, maybe I'll give you an answer to that question that might not be so popular.
Go ahead. That's why we love
it. It won't be the first time, Bruce.
My fundamental truth, if you like, is that fundamental truths are beliefs. In other words, other people's fundamental truths for me are not true, because I have my own beliefs about what the truth is. Fundamental truth, I think, is a thing that should be done by individuals, not by groups. And there is this inclination, I think, because human beings tend to be tribal, right? They want to gather in groups, and they want the groups to believe in the same set of things. And so they get the groups and they say, right, what are our fundamental truths? What is the universal objective truth now for this group, right? But there are no such things. In other words, if you claim that there is, and we're talking now about moral, spiritual, value, religious kind of truths. I don't mean facts. Facts are a different kind of question. I'm talking about ideas, moral ideas. If you claim, anybody claims, that they know what the universal objective truth, moral truth, religious truth, spiritual truth is about something, my response to them is, really? Great. Prove it. And of course, those are not the kinds of things that can be proven. Those are beliefs. And beliefs are things that come from individuals. So my interest is law and governance. And so my point in all of this is, look, your system of governance, your law, should not reflect some group's set of fundamental truths. Because if it does, then all the other people are not free. So to have a minimalist state that provides for freedom for everybody to come to their own fundamental truths. Fundamental truth is not a group activity.
Excellent. Well put.
Mhm.
And we see New York, the mayor of New York, Mandani, what's his name?
Yeah, Bendani.
Yeah, he's talking like that now. He's like collectivism over the individualism. And when you look throughout history, Mao, Stalin, the rest has said the same thing. And I think that's kind of what you're hinting at. It's an individual thing.
Mhm.
And
It
let's be
is.
careful about being
Yes.
collective.
Exactly. But see, this is all, precisely so, but it is a danger also on the side that is pushing against that kind of collectivism. You push against the socialism and the communism and the wokeism, and that's good. I mean, that has to be pushed against because that is a collective set of ideas. But the pushing against it also tends to wander into collectivist thoughts, as in, no. We know what the truth is, and the proper way to govern ourselves is with our correct truths and not your false truths. Okay? No, you're missing the point. The point is that the collective doesn't get to tell you what the truth is.
Awesome.
Mhm.
And your individual tickets can be purchased at fundamentaltruth.ca. There is no collective ticket. There's no group ticket. We're all individuals going to have a come together and to listen to speeches, especially like Bruce Pardy. I'm looking forward to it. You don't have a book yet, do you? You should if you don't.
No, not recent, not a recent one. I'll work on it.
Well, bring your Alberta flag. He'll sign it for you.
I will.
All right. But it's going to be a good time. So hang out. We're going to go spend some time with our supporters. And then please hang out a little bit longer. We got some logistics to chat with you while we got you. May as well kill 3 birds with 1 stone here. Sorry if you're a bird lover, but we just going to kill 3 birds with 1 stone. But hang out, Bruce. That was awesome. Any last messages that you want to say to Alberta as we let the public go? Maybe individual tickets?
Only that. I'm really looking forward to it. Hoping to see everybody. Please come join us. It should be a great time.
Fantastic. Thank you a lot, Bruce. We'll be right with you. Okay, button. Here we go. Okay, so I'm excited. So every speaker we've had on this week so far, this is why I have people helping me out at this event, because I'm going to sit there and I want to watch this and pay attention to this. And I like how he broke down the fundamental truth is a belief.
Yep.
And when you try to get people together, you're rowing in the wrong direction. I think this is going to be a good conversation, and how we walk out of there with solutions and messages and paths forward. Looking forward to that part as well.
Yeah, and there's a comment in our locals chat. Groupthink is dangerous.
Ruled by mob, right? That's
Yep.
not a good thing. Got to find a way to rule yourself and then just be good neighbors.
Yep.
And if we're all good to each other, then there's a good way to get things done. But we don't have to be ruled by each other.
Yeah. Also wanted to highlight as well, I was told that Spruce Grove tomorrow at the Super 8. There is also a training session going on for
Fantastic.
Stay Free Alberta.
All right, so Edmonton, Spruce Grove, and I'm sure there's more. Go check out Stay Free Alberta. You can even see the APPs doing the education portion, but not the petition portion. So go check it out. Looking forward to seeing everybody out there.
Yep, and go ahead and you can become a supporter at the Levine Show, and clicking all these buttons. So there you go. And yeah, we'd love to see you in our locals chat right now if you'd like to go ahead and join.
And big reminder, you cannot sign the petition online.
Yes.
And there is no fee to do it. So if anybody's offering you a way to do it online for a fee, that's not legit. That's illegal. And please report them. All right, everybody, have yourself a wonderful day. Take care of each other.
Yeah, everyone, have a great day. I'll see you tomorrow morning as well. Take care.
Love you all, and God bless.